So the most common question we get, what kind of radio should I buy? Well, it depends on what you want. It depends on your money. You know, you can compare a Mustang or a Camaro to a pickup truck, F-150, Ram, whatever your flavor is. One's better than the other, but what are you using it for? If I want to go fast, I'll drive the Camaro, the Corvette, the Mustang. I want to go haul things in a boat, I'm going to go for the truck. Radios are the same exact way. So, for instance, here's the Baofeng UV5R. This is actually a ham radio, but everybody seems to be buying these off of Amazon for 20, 30 bucks. They'll work. They've got GMRS flavors, a lot of Chinese radios. They're kind of low end. They don't sound as good, but they work for a lot of people. You know, whether or not you want to judge it, it's your personal preference. These require a little bit more work to program. There's programs like Chirp. We've got another video that you can use to learn how to program one of these with Chirp. It's a free program. So the other option is we step up to commercial radios. This is a Kenwood TK3140. It's an older radio, but it works really well. Sounds better than the Baofengs. But these commercial radios require software and cables to program them. Kind of like the Baofengs, even though you can do those from the front panel. They do make these that you can program from the front, but these just sound better. They work better, and they can be had relatively inexpensively off of your favorite auction sites. Or you can work your way up to something a little more higher end. This is a Motorola EX600 XLS. It's a fully featured radio. It's also a little older. Can be had off of eBay pretty cheap. They've got a front panel. And what I like about all of these radios is you can see what channel you're on. Even on the Baofeng, you can mask that to say, like, this is the Winslow repeater for us in Arkansas. This one is the NWA 700 for us in Arkansas. And this one's also the Winslow repeater in Arkansas. So again, your mileage will vary. It's kind of hard, you know, what's the best radio? The best radio is what you can afford. Run what you brung. Learn. Buy the Chinese radios, the Baofangs and TID radios and all that. You'll notice they're a little noisier around interference. They don't sound as good, but they'll work, especially if you're closer to a repeater. If this is the only radio you buy, you may get disappointed with the performance, especially if you're inside of a vehicle. So when you want to get something that you're using in a car, using a portable radio in a car is just going to cause you all kinds of grief because it's just nothing but a big trap of radio signals. So you're going to want to get yourself a mobile radio. So here's an example of a mobile radio setup. This is in a specialty vehicle, which you can see here. We've got that. This is a ham radio. It does more or less the same thing, but it does ham frequencies. So this is obviously built in a vehicle that has a custom box for it, whatever. But these radios are a little more higher powered. The portable radios, you know, anywhere between 2 and 5 watts. These are 25 to 50 watts. So you're getting now your power output up to the point where you're getting your full power output availability. As a GMRS licensee, you're allowed up to 50 watts on the 8 pairs that we have. Both simplex and repeater. Simplex being just radio to radio, no repeaters involved. But here's just an example of a mobile radio install and what they look like. They are different. Again, this is a commercial radio. This is a ham radio. This is one of the Chinese imports. TYT, I think it is. And this one's a little more old school Motorola setup. So again, you know, the sky's the limit when it comes. Let me show you another Motorola setup in a different vehicle. Here's another mobile radio setup. This has a mobile radio in a truck. This is a commercial radio also. This is a Motorola CDM 1250. They can be had off of eBay and other auction sites for 100, 150 bucks, sometimes a little more. They're very good radios, sound well. They do require computer programming and some specialty stuff, more or less, but it's out there. And as a group member, there's those of us that will come help you and program it. We got people all over the state that can do stuff like these. So this, you'll see there's battery. It's wired to the battery back there. And I'll show you what it looks like up in front. But there's that. The reason these radios work so well is because they got their antennas outside. Using a radio with the antenna inside starts to turn into something called a Faraday cage. It just blocks all your RF. So you get a radio mounted with a little external antenna. Sometimes they come with magnets. In this case, we drilled it right into the roof for maximum performance. Didn't take much work, and routed the cable up to the radio. And last but not least, we have a little base station. Hey, that looks familiar. That's kind of like a mobile radio. But yep, you can use high power car radios in the house. You run an antenna outside. In a worst case scenario, you find a refrigerator or something, get a magnet antenna, stick it on there. A lot of people tell you all kinds of different stuff. Run what you brung. But this one runs outside to an antenna that's outside the house and has a little power supply there to run the radio. So we have a little base station in the house. I got a little fan there that I knock over, but that's what we do our nets on a lot of times. These can be had off eBay real cheap. Again, any mobile radio will work. The biggest thing is getting a nice big fat piece of cable outside the house and get an antenna up. And maybe we'll make a video and show some of the different options you have there. But radio in the house, that way if you got your family and you're using it, you have a little base station. And what's nice about these, if you get the antenna up out of the house high enough and you get a good radio, you might get 5-6 miles around your own house without a repeater. So in the case of repeater failure or things like that, you and your family can still continue to communicate around your immediate home should you need to. Again, there's all kinds of different power supplies, but it's a 12 volt power supply and it brings 12 volts up to the radio, and that's all she wrote. Alright, so let's try to see if we can tell the difference between a car radio and a portable radio in a car. So what this will do is we're going to watch the little thing here and we're going to listen. I'm going to run out and we're going to try to do a quick transmission on a portable radio in a car and then a car radio. So here we go. WRBK, one more. WRBK 701 on the mobile. Alright, as you can see, there's a pretty big difference between using a portable radio in a car or in some sort of building versus what a portable radio sounds like, or I'm sorry, a mobile radio sounds like with a little bit more external antenna. So your mileage may vary. The closer you get to the repeater, the better off you are. But if you're only relying on a portable, you may be disappointed. So in ending, that's pretty much all we got today. It's going to be really come down to, we've got all kinds of different radios out there. You're going to have, try out some different stuff. There's people who will tell you they really like this brand, they really like that brand. Ask them why. For me personally, I enjoyed using them professionally, so that's what I picked. There's other people that have had good luck with something like the Baofeng or TID radio or whatever the Chinese flavor of the day is. The cheap Amazon ones is what we call them, but they work. Again, you got to make sure that you're getting your antenna outside. Now you're always going to find the key is getting your antenna outside. As you can see on the car radios, there's an antenna outside the car. If you're using a portable in the car, you're going to have trouble. If you're close to the repeater will overcome it. But as you start to get far away, it's just not. It's gonna fade off real fast. If the portable radio is all that you have, then there are kits that you can buy to put an antenna with a magnet outside your car and run a little cable into the portable itself. We may make a video about that sometime, somewhere down the road. We just wanted to take a minute and show you all the different stuff that we've got. As you can see up here on the screen, there's portable radios, there's mobile radios. It really is a lot to learn for some people, but that's what we're here for. At least get an idea, and now you'll know the difference between a portable, a mobile, and maybe a base station. And you can start to build your GMRS system the way that it was intended. So we appreciate you watching, and take care. Thanks.